Welcome to TERRA at Home, here with a very familiar face. Back with us, Chris Moretti, of course, of TERRA. And it's so nice, we're officially in May, 1 week away from Mother's Day. So we get to talk outdoors now. We're really pushing outdoors as much as we can.
Yeah.
So nice to have you back.
Thanks, Leslie. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we have some beautiful ideas here for dressing your tables.
Yeah, something you'll see more and more of at TERRA this season are elements to dress up your tables, whether inside or out.
Okay.
And what I've tried to do in building collections is sort of mix and matchable pieces that you can layer, that you can have fun with, add texture and fun to your table, taking your everyday elements and sort of elevating them into something a little more special for any of your occasions throughout the entire summer season.
See, and that's what's great about it too. By layering, again, you can start pulling in other maybe pieces you've had around for a while.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they come back to life again because you've picked up a couple new ones, right? And layering just adds so much more depth to your table, as you can see.
That's right. It's great for your look. It's also great for your budget because you don't need to completely reinvent your collection every time you want to freshen something up. It can be something as simple as replacing a single element that completely transforms the look of your table. So with every one of the settings here, I've started with basics. White dishes, you know, everyone's got white dishes, and if you don't have them, you should get them
because food always looks better on them too.
It looks great. So white dishes are sort of the starting point for anyone, and then you've got basic solids as far as any color is concerned, and then you can mix and match with different colors and textures to sort of layer up or down, and that's where you can really have some fun with swapping things out. Conversely, you can take a patterned element that you've got and pull different colors from that pattern in your solids to, again, transform the look of any place setting.
I love it. And again, what we're seeing, of course, we're seeing how fashion trends really carry through interior design and just into your home in general. So all, again, very much about bold colors right now we're seeing on the runway. So it really comes back to here. Again, having that neutral base is fine, but then adding all the pops of color, where before a lot of times people would just keep their tables very neutral.
Yes.
Right? But now, look at this. This is great.
Well, that's it. Your table itself is the neutral. Your table is sort of what's just sitting there, and that's not going to change. You mentioned bold colors. Red is the it color for outdoor entertaining this summer season. So here we've got a great example of a red place setting that would look just as place inside as it does outside. So all of these elements can be mixed and matched inside or outside. So we've started with just a simple red basic placemat. You'll find these basic placemats in an array of colors in our collection that, again, are sort of mix and matchable with everything else. Then I've sort of added a bit of fun with a second placemat on top. As opposed to a tablecloth or a runner, using different placemats layered on top of one another can be a good trick to create interest on the table without the cumbersome nature of a full tablecloth, or even in some cases a runner.
Well, especially if you're outside, sometimes tablecloths become a little bit of a pain sometimes.
Well, they're blowing
with
around.
The conditions. Right? So yes, I like this idea. And again, look, you've just added some dimension of color by piecing those together. So that works really nicely.
So then you've got your dish, and then your solid, again, repeated from the bottom to the top. And then something that I can never overemphasize is adding live elements to your table, especially with outdoor entertaining. So here we've got some beautiful fresh herbs from Freeman Herbs in our lovely coordinated pottery, and we're off to the races.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. Great. And I'm actually now starting to use that in my home a lot more because TERRA uses that.
I'm glad
to hear it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we'll come over to this side. This is a beautiful color too.
Yeah, here we've got an example of a different collection of linens as well. You'll see in our runner here, we've got a collection of runners that are made in Canada, in Mississauga. So this is one of those textiles, and you'll find a different selection of that. It's an indoor-outdoor fabric that's UV resistant, so you can leave that outside if you so wish, or rather, it's good for entertaining outside. And then we've got, rather than solids on the bottom, we've got our patterned element. And again, you can see I'm sort of layering pattern, solid, to create interest on the table and sort of a balance of textures. So an example of how we can switch that out here is that if you get tired of the pattern, if the pattern maybe for you was you know, sort of a spur of the moment plan or something that you use seasonally, you can just ditch that and go with a white solid or a green solid instead, and your table still looks fabulous. So that's no problem.
I mean, that's the easy part about it, right? Because sometimes, especially if you're entertaining and you have friends that come over frequently, you might want to switch it up so that it's not like, oh, you know, she used these napkins last time.
I saw that when I was there for Easter.
And she wore that outfit too. Anyway.
We'll move over to number 3. This is one of my favorite collections here. I'm an earthy kind of girl, so I like elements of wood on the table, and that's something that's very trendy this season. You'll see elements of acacia wood on this place setting, which is really fun. And then the runner on the bottom is actually made of water hyacinth. So you'll see more and more of that at TERRA. Eco elements that are fun and that can interchange. Cool. Yeah, so we've got some base elements of wood, and we've got our basic color collection here. What I want to show you this time is how to swap out some of these base elements with something a little more special. We're approaching Mother's Day, as you said. So maybe you're hosting a Mother's Day brunch and you want to go with something a little bit more special. So I'll just swap those out. We've got our plates, we've got our placemats, and we'll keep some of these elements and sort of switch out others. So I'm going to take out our hyacinth runner, and I'm going to replace it with some beautiful patterned linens that have premiered at TERRA this spring season by designer April Cornell. I love them, and the collection that you'll find for the spring-summer season is sort of light floral. It's romantic, and all of the different floral patterns are very, very coordinated, so you can mix and match different patterns together.
They're very vintage, actually. They almost take you back to even, some of the wallpapers you would see back in the early 1900s that people would have, because again, it was all about florals back then, right? So really just to kind of see this come back, and it is so delicate and pretty.
I love that it's classic and timeless, and delicate's a good word for it, for sure. We're gonna go with our straight white dishes, of course, which is sort of the beginning element for anything. Now, of course, you could layer a placemat underneath that as well on top of your runner. We could go with the wood or replace it with something else. And then again, in that April Cornell collection, we have mixed patterns and solids. So the solids that you'll find at TERRA automatically coordinate with any of the April Cornell prints.
Nice.
So here we can go with our solid napkins, and we'll dress those up in a second. And then I'm going to layer on top again. I'm pulling that blue out of the collection, and this is a collection of eco indoor outdoor
I've been
dishware.
wanting to touch these, so these are very cool.
They're actually made of bamboo and rice husks, and they're fully biodegradable, but they're also durable. They're dishwasher safe on the top rack. So you can use these for entertaining probably for 2 full seasons. They're very affordable, and they're great for quick entertaining, indoor, outdoor, picnicking. They're nice and lightweight.
I love it.
They're eco, which is always fun.
So cool.
So I'll set those on top of my regular dishware. They can be used as side plates or whatever you want. And then to further dress up the napkins, I'm just going to swap out from our wooden napkin rings we used in this circumstance to make it a little bit more pretty and upscale. You can never have enough napkin rings, I think.
Well, while you do that, again, we really appreciate you coming, Chris, because again, and just bringing all these products over, because again, you can find them, of course, at all your TERRA locations, and just really look at how, this is indicative of spring. This is Mother's Day weekend written all over it, so this is beautiful. And again, all these products, while you're going and picking up your plants, you can dress up your table. It was awesome seeing you again. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Beautiful. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home after this.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
This year, get the most out of your lawn with the fertilizer that gives you the most for your money. Scott's Turf Builder. Some brands have filler like sand, sawdust, even gravel, things you don't want on your lawn. Turf Builder has no filler. It's 100% food for a deep feeding you can see, feel, and enjoy. For a lawn that can't be beat, get a fertilizer that can't be copied. Scott's Turf Builder. All food, no filler. And try new Turf Builder Green Max with 3 times the iron for deeper greening.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We are at the Coco Tea Company. We're here with Joanne in downtown Dundas. And hi, Joanne. Nice to see you again. Well, it's always fun when we're edging towards Mother's Day at this point. So I personally am a big lover of tea, and a lot of people are, because it's just such a nice there's a broad range of teas for everybody. And of course, with Mother's Day being around the corner, it's a nice gift idea too.
It is, and it's a healthy gift.
Good point. Right. So that's what we should talk about.
A feel-good gift.
It's a feel-good gift because, and generally, I think people really do. Tea makes people feel good. Period. There's some kind of sort of something about tea that a cup of hot tea just makes people feel good. Right.
I agree.
So besides that, though, actually internally, it's good for your body.
Totally. There's so many health benefits nowadays, and they're finding out more and more with research.
Right.
To begin with, we'll start with the white tea, just to give you an idea. This one is actually, white tea is the first bud and 2 leaves off a tea bush.
Okay.
It still has down on it, actually.
Really?
There's no fermentation, so minimal caffeine, but it actually has the highest amount for cancer fighting.
Oh, okay.
So,
now you hear that because there's been, research people have read. Okay, is it white or is it green? But white right now is sort of the winner.
White is the top, and then green.
Okay,
but definitely green.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely.
Has a bit more caffeine, but this is unfermented, so it has minimal caffeine.
Okay.
It also actually speeds up your metabolism, so it's good for weight loss.
Really?
So they say about 3 cups a day.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. So that's the thing. I thought a lot of people wonder, okay, but how much do I have to drink of this for it to actually to get a benefit? But that's doable.
Yeah, 3 cups.
Right?
About 3 cups a day. And basically, what it does is it blocks the fat in your body, so it doesn't absorb it as much. Okay. So it's a really good one.
And that's the great thing again, as we're talking about the different types of whites and greens, black teas, herbal teas. There's so many different flavors.
Right? There's so many. I have 190, and I want 300.
Really?
Like, I mean, there's so many out there.
And this is a tiny, cute little store, and you have that many already in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's hard to say no because there is so many different ones out there.
There would be.
You know.
What would you say is your top seller right now of a white tea?
Of a white tea, probably this one is really nice, or plain. People like plain, but the thing with white tea is if you look at your green tea, it has some body to it. The liquor has some color to it.
Yeah.
White tea is so clear, it's so light and delicate that people assume it has to be dark. They're so used to black tea.
The
to see it
association
dark.
of tea.
Right. So they end up putting in way too much and wasting it.
Okay.
And white tea is not boiling water. So if the water boils, you have to let it cool down a bit.
I've heard that with tea before, though, because you can almost scald it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Especially because it is unfermented.
And it's more fragile.
Exactly.
Okay.
Green tea, on the other hand, is unfermented. Also, can take a little bit more heat. You know, I still would let the kettle boil and cool down a good 5 minutes, but definitely it's. You know.
Now that's one thing I found. What my dad does is he thinks because green tea is so good for you, I'm going to let it steep forever because that's going to make it even better for me. There's a point where that's not true. Right?
Well, actually, if you do it, if you let it steep about 2 to 3 minutes the first time, drink it, and keep adding more water, you should be able to use the same leaves 2 to 3 times.
Okay, that's good though.
Right.
Right.
So,
but it can get bitter if you leave the water in there for too long, right?
It shouldn't. If the water is too hot, it could make it.
So that's what it is.
Can make
it's
it
the water. Because I've done it. I've tasted this before. And I'm like, what's wrong with this tea?
Yeah. And the grated tea, if it's cheaper grated tea.
And the grated tea.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So then we move on to black tea, and believe it or not, black tea actually has health benefits. It reduces heart attack by 40%. They've done some studies on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Green tea and black tea both are really good for fighting cavities and bad breath.
Okay.
So I mean, there's always.
Well, that's the thing. Tea's been around for so long, right? For centuries and centuries. So I mean, it's one of those things that they keep finding out more. I mean, obviously, way back in the day, people were finding the benefits of tea from all over the world. So even back then, they were looking at them for treatments. They were using them as medical treatments. So
well, green tea actually settles your stomach. So
sure does.
It and just so you know, here's a little tidbit I never realized. I always knew coffee had more caffeine, but I didn't realize that tea had half the caffeine of coffee. Okay. So it does have caffeine, but it is, and it's with coffee, when you drink coffee, you go high with caffeine, and then you come down, and you kind of crash, and you get the jitters.
Yes, that's how I feel.
And with tea, you don't have that crash. It's more of a subtle incline, and then decline.
So even a black tea still has half the caffeine than a coffee does. Okay, that is actually good.
But it's a different caffeine, so it's not a crash. You don't get the crash and burn.
That's good for people to know because people worry sometimes. They're thinking, oh well, it's still caffeine, but that's a huge difference.
And if you're really worried about caffeine with black tea, there's a little trick, and it's called washing the leaves. And basically what you do is you pour the water on, don't let it steep, pour it off right away, and then make the second cup. Oh. or a second pot, because a lot of the caffeine is in the first.
That initial.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Of course, lots of different rooibos. This is rooibos.
That is rooibos. That's Bourbon Street vanilla. Rooibos is not in the tea family. It's herbal.
It's it's a bush, right?
That's right.
Okay.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's the needles and the bark. But it has a lot of health benefits too. It has like vitamins, 24 vitamins, 15 amino acids.
So it has its own health benefits as well.
And they used to use it for babies that were really colicky. So it settles your stomach, and it's caffeine free. They've even made poultices out of it for eczema.
Yes, I've heard that.
There's so many different.
And the great thing about tea as well is, of course, you have hot tea for me here, but you also have a cold tea.
I do. I have
which is you can take most teas and make them cold.
That's right.
So what one is this one? I'm going to try this.
This is actually a fruit, which is a tisane. It's an apple base. It has hibiscus in it, and
that's good.
And so basically, what I did was I just made a pot of tea, and I put literally 1 teaspoon of honey in that. And then I chilled it, but it's probably not cold enough just yet.
No, it's really nice. But again, this is perfect for this time of year, especially if if you're getting together for Mother's Day weekend. Make a pot of. Now you can do the cold. Start getting into the cold, and it's just a really very refreshing, especially because it's not sweet, and you can add your own sweetness to it.
You can control that for kids, especially.
Yeah.
And especially it's a lot better than pop, right?
It sure is.
So I mean,
but it looks like pop, right?
You pour it over ice and add some fruit, and it looks amazing.
That's right, especially if you add the fruit.
Yeah.
So basically, when people come in the store, you can help them out, right? I mean, in terms of gifts as well. Kind of talk to people. Okay, what kind of flavors does she like? What what type of tea? What people often know they drink black tea.
That's right. We need to determine whether or not they're okay with caffeine or not caffeine.
Sure.
If they like fruity things or spicy things. Some people like chai. Chai is a big thing
good.
now.
Yep. Yeah. Some tea tastes like chocolate. There's chocolate in it. Some,
that's right. Yeah.
Caramels and all kinds of great things.
We do a lot of lattes now, and people are starting to expand just their thought on it. So they'll do like a chocolate banana, and we'll mix them. So it's like a chocolate banana drink.
Fun. It's so fun.
So
and of course, you have all the accessories for tea, so you can actually put like kind of a fun little gift bag together, and with the tea, the strainer, and the whole 9 yards.
Exactly.
Right? So it's really just a really great
And a lot
gift.
of the teapots nowadays come with strainers.
Built
This
right
one
inside.
is really cool because it has a.
Oh, and it warms it.
It has so it keeps it warm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Joanna, it was fun hanging out with you
Thank
today.
you.
And again, it's the Coco Tea Company right down here in Dundas, and you know your stuff, so you can really help people come in and decide what tea they like for themselves and for their family. Okay, that's it for now. Back with more Terra right after this.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, and of course, a week away from Mother's Day, we thought we'd give you a really great idea in the kitchen, something that's perfect with Chef Rachel. Kind of actually works great for a brunch, supper, anything,
Yeah,
So,
you can eat this in the morning or at night.
Yeah.
We're doing savory crepes.
Okay.
So we've got chicken and mushrooms that are going in this crepe with a nice sauce.
Great.
So we'll get started with the crepe batter, just so you can see how it's done. Very simple, 2 eggs, about 3/4 of a cup of milk.
Okay.
We'll just whisk that together. And then we have some flour here.
It's basically like you're making a very thin kind of little pancake, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just mix that together, and we'll add in the flour, and it makes like a batter. We can put that in the refrigerator, so you can actually refrigerate this the day ahead if you want to. Just give it a nice stir before you actually use it.
Okay, that's good.
But basically, doing that's going to refrigerating is going to give it a little bit of a nicer color.
Oh, really?
They say, yeah, and make it easier to come out of the pan.
Okay.
That's
a good tip.
That's
Those are all the
That's
little
what
things that
they
we
say.
don't know when we're in our own kitchen that we need the chefs to stand by and tell us.
Yes.
Those little things that just make a difference.
There you go. So
Okay.
that's our batter
That
consistency,
would be
and
basically what we do.
I've had one in the fridge,
And
so we
we
pull
have
that
one
out,
done. That's cool.
and we just want to give it another whisk, and it's
Yeah.
nice and cool, ready to to go.
Okay.
So when we're going to make the crepe, we just a little bit of butter, a ladle of this in the pan, and swirl it around. It only takes about 30 seconds on each side, and then you can slide it right out of the pan.
And it's just a little bit, so they're really thin, right? Okay.
Yeah, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan.
Okay.
Okay, so we will put that over there just for now. Next, we'll get started on the sauce.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're making here is basically a bechamel type sauce. So we start off with a 1/4 cup of butter. We just want to melt this in the pan. When you start a bechamel sauce, you're basically starting with a roux, which is equal parts butter and flour. So we have a 1/4 cup of butter here and a 1/4 cup of flour. We'll just get this melted a bit more before we add the flour in. And this recipe is a little bit different. In addition to the milk, we're going to add in some stock as well.
Oh, okay.
So we'll put that in. So this is 2 cups of stock and a cup of milk. And then we have some fontina cheese too. So then
That'll be
basically
good.
it's turning from a bechamel into a cheese sauce.
Oh.
So we'll mix our filling with that sauce, and we can also drizzle some on top of the crepe.
Okay.
So here we go. We can add in the flour, and basically you just want to mix this together. So you can see that there. It's going to, it's going to make a smooth kind of thick paste.
Yeah, it does turn into a bit of a paste.
Yeah. So you want to cook that for a minute or so, and that's the start of our sauce. Now we can slowly whisk in some of this. I'll steal this whisk again. So we want to slowly whisk in the stock, just to make sure that no lumps form when we're doing it.
Oh, okay.
So we put a touch in, and it's going to take about a cup until it starts to actually get liquidy, because it's going to absorb all of that. So then there we go. We're back to kind of our roux consistency. So just a little bit at a time. Put this on a low. You don't ever want to really boil a roux, so keep it on a low heat. This is a pretty big burner too, so just keep mixing it or whisking it until you have a smooth, right? So you can see how it just keeps absorbing it.
I guess because of all the flour, right? So, okay.
We'll do one more addition, then we can add in the milk all at once. The method in doing a roux like this, you add in all the liquid. Eventually, it's gonna not soak all that up and not be so
Right, it won't
stiff.
draw from it anymore. Okay.
Right. So now we have more of a liquid. We want to mix that up really well so there's no lumps. We can add in the rest of this, and then our cup of milk.
Okay.
And then what we want to do is bring that up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you can turn it down to a simmer, but bringing it up to a boil is what's going to make it thick again.
Oh, okay.
So
So you do often see that called for in recipes where you do kind of like even when you're making porridge. You bring it to a boil first, and then you let it simmer for a while, right? So you're getting that intense heat, and then drop it down.
Right. So right now it's very liquidy, so we'll
Sure.
bring that up. When it comes up to a boil, we'll turn that down and we'll just simmer it.
Okay.
At this time we can season it with salt and pepper. Some people don't like using black pepper in a bechamel because
Because you can see it.
Because you can see it, but not me.
Yeah. I guess.
So it's all about personal preference.
Sure.
A lot of chefs like to use the white pepper.
Right.
I prefer the black, so and I think in this recipe it's okay. It depends on the kind of recipe that you're doing as well.
Okay.
So I'll pass that to you.
All right.
I'm going to switch burners here. So we'll keep this on, coming to a boil on this burner. And on this burner, what we're going to do is we're going to make the rest of our filling. So I've already cooked a chicken breast, but we can put that back in the pan shortly. We'll start off with some butter.
Seeing a common theme here. This is going to be nice and a nice, very rich dish.
Yes.
But light because it's a crepe.
Right.
Sorry. Crepes always make things seem lighter.
Yes. Well, exactly, because they are. So this is okay. We got to make something special for Mom, right?
Yes.
So put in a chopped onion. So this is our mixture, my favorite base to everything I do, onion and garlic. So put that in. Saute that up for a minute, and then we'll add in some chopped mushrooms. So this is a mushroom chicken crepe. Nice savory, a little different than your regular sweet crepe.
Yes, I think I've only ever had sweet crepes. Actually, I've had some where you can do, you know, brie and apple and things like that. That's actually pretty good. That's a good flavor mix, but this is good.
The great thing about crepes is that you can fill them with anything.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute this up with the mushrooms just for a couple minutes to get them nice and soft.
Okay.
And then I have a little bit of sherry. So we'll deglaze the pan with a bit of sherry, we'll put the chicken back in, let it all cook together, and then what we'll do is we'll mix it in a bowl with our bechamel sauce.
Okay.
And then we have our mixture.
Sounds good. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll sort of piece this all together for you.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials presents Terra's Perennial Pick of the Week. Easy to grow and super hardy, Salvia caradonna has violet blue flowers on dark purple stems, perfect for any sunny spot. Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, and again, preparing ourselves a weekend away from Mother's Day. So we're back with Chef Rachel. We're completing our beautiful crepes that you made, and of course, you already made the crepes up.
Right. So just a very, very thin layer of batter in your well buttered pan.
Well buttered pan.
Yeah. And about 30 seconds to a minute on each side. You can flip it, you know, with your hand,
and so
or you get a
really,
flipper.
really thin. Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
you want them really thin.
Okay.
Now the other step, our bechamel is finished. We mix the cheese in there. What you want to do at that point is mix half of that mixture with your filling.
Right.
Okay.
So then you get
that.
And then you said you actually put this back in the fridge.
Right. Reserve the other half of the mixture here and put these both in the fridge in separate containers.
Okay.
What you want the bechamel to do is thicken up a little bit.
Yeah.
It just makes wrapping it a lot easier.
So it's not running all over the place.
It's not running, it's not hot.
Okay.
So yeah, so we have the oven preheated to 350, and basically you just want to fill your crepes with this. So we just get one and put a little bit of filling. You can wrap them however you like, but I like to kind of put a little bit in a line in the middle.
Okay.
And then I just fold in the sides and wrap it like this. So you have a nice big thick crepe.
Nice.
And then from there what we can do is just put a little bit of the sauce over top.
Okay. And it's thick again as well because it's been chilled, but it'll eventually melt in the oven. And
Right. Yeah, exactly. Good. So then when they come out of the oven.
And how long are you leaving them in there?
You can cook them for maybe anywhere from 20, 25 minutes. You want to just make sure that the inside is all warm throughout. But check it. Maybe check it.
Everything's cooked at this point. It's just a matter of warming it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what they look like when they come out.
Good.
And basically you're ready to serve. So it makes a great breakfast or brunch. Serve it with a nice light salad if you're having it at dinner time.
Yeah, it would be good with a salad, right? Because that salad's like cool and crisp and kind of breaks up. Because this is very rich and creamy and yummy. And now, are there any herbs or anything else that you would add to this afterwards, or would you suggest, or would you just kind of?
Yeah, of course. Adding fresh herbs to any dish is always a great idea. So you can even add some in the mixture if you like, or maybe some fresh chives on top. We have some chives there.
Sure. Yeah.
Chives, parsley, I find always go nice with breakfast type dishes.
Sure, it does. Yeah,
for sure.
Now again, we should remind you, of course, you can find all of these recipes on our website, terragreenhouses.com, and Rachel has everything fully explained, and of course you can always watch the show on there. But again, we would appreciate you getting up nice and early on a Saturday morning to watch the show as all of us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we're getting oh so close to Mama's Day.
Yeah.
So get prepared, and we'll be back again next week.